y'all, welcome back to my Southern Rustic Kitchen, and welcome if you are new. This week I've got some delicious weeknight meal ideas for you guys, so let's head on into the kitchen and let's make some delicious meals. Alright, I am starting this week out with some homemade pizza. I just made pizza for us. I made half with onion and half without onions. My husband doesn't like onions, so I just left it off his side of the pizza. And I added some mushrooms, some bell pepper, pepperoni, cheese, all the good stuff. But I have this on my blog, so I will leave that in the description box below for you guys. My husband has requested for me to make gumbo, so that is what I am making here. I've made this on my channel before, so if I can find the video, I will leave it in the iCard above and also linked in the description box below. But what I'm doing here is I'm just adding some oil to a pan over medium-low heat, as well as some flour, and I'm just going to cook this until about 15 to 20 minutes until it's my desired color. Alright, this has been cooking for about 20 minutes and it's this beautiful caramel color. Now you can cook this a little bit longer if you want it a more richer flavor. You can do about 25 to 30 minutes and it will just kind of deepen that flavor in the gumbo. So I'm just going to leave it here at this stage. I'm going to add in some onion and some celery, and I'm going to cook this for another 10 to 15 minutes just until those vegetables are nice and tender. Alright, now that the vegetables are tender, I'm going to go ahead and add in all of my spices. I'm going to add in some thyme, bay leaf, cayenne pepper, red pepper flakes, some chicken bouillon powder, salt and pepper, and some garlic. Now don't forget to add your garlic in now. I forgot to add mine in, but I will add it in later on in the cooking process, so it's fine. But I'm just going to go ahead and do that. Once I added in the spices, I just kind of mixed it around and let it cook for about 2 or 3 minutes just to toast up those spices. Now I'm going to go in and add in some sausage. You can do whatever kind of sausage that you prefer. I like to use andouille sausage, so I'm just going to go ahead and add that in now. Now that I've got the sausage in there, I'm going to go ahead and add in some water. And then I'm just going to mix that around, and I'm going to add in about 3 boneless, skinless chicken breasts, and I'm going to kind of mix that around, make sure that chicken is in the liquid. And then I'm just going to stir that up and let it cook for about 35 to 40 minutes, just until that chicken is completely cooked through. Now that the chicken has cooked completely through, I'm going to go ahead and remove it to a cutting board, and I'm just going to use 2 forks to shred it up. But if you have an easier method that you prefer to shred up your chicken, just go ahead and do that. Once you get your chicken all shredded up, you can add however much chicken back into the pot that you want. Typically I do 3 chicken breasts, and then I just save some of it for salads or whatever throughout the week. But I'm just going to add about 3/4 of that chicken back in, save the rest of that for later on, and then I'm going to add in my frozen shrimp. You can do fresh shrimp, skin on, tail on, whatever you want. Once you get it in there, you're going to let this sit for between about 3 to 5 minutes, just until that shrimp is nice and pink and cooked through. So here is what it looks like once the shrimp is nice and cooked through. I already checked the seasoning, added a little bit more salt and pepper just to make sure all of the seasoning was on point, and it was absolutely delicious. So I'm going to go ahead and make my plate. Alright, here is my bowl of gumbo. I just served it with rice. I had rice on the bottom and then I just spooned some of that gumbo on top. But you can serve this however you want. This was absolutely delicious. It made quite a lot. So I packed some up and sent it to the neighbors, and I'm so glad that he enjoyed it as well. So yeah, this is what we have for dinner tonight. For dinner tonight, I just made some leftovers from the 4th of July. We made some ribs, some barbecue ribs, some pasta salad, some potato salad. My husband requested some stuffing, so I made that, and I had a little bit of sauerkraut to go along with it, and this was absolutely delicious. For dinner tonight, I was in the mood for breakfast for dinner, so I just made a little bit of everything. So we're going to start out by making some buttermilk waffles. So to my bowl here, I just have some flour. I'm going to add in some sugar, baking powder, and some salt. I'm going to mix that together until it's nice and combined. Once that's combined, I'm going to add in some eggs, vanilla, butter, and some buttermilk. And then I'm just going to whisk this together until it's nice and combined. A little bit of lumps is just fine. It will cook out when you're cooking it. So I'm just going to do that. Let it sit for a minute while we heat up our waffle iron.
Still burning, didn't know I missed this passion in life. Now I'm addicted somehow. Let me tell you what is up with your smile? It's impossible, not melting, irresistible. When I look through your eyes, not even sky's the limit. I used to be satisfied, stayed over the surface. Now I just can't get enough. You make me feel good like no other. I just want everyone to see what I've discovered. And when I'm with you, I go higher. You lift me up.
Now that the batter has rested, I'm going to go ahead and open up my waffle iron, spray that down with a little bit of oil. You can use whatever kind of oil spray that you want. I also oiled everything on my counter, but it's fine. The waffles turned out perfect. So I'm just going to add that batter in there, close it down, and let that cook until it's nice and golden brown. And then I'm going to remove those to a plate while I work on the rest of the waffles.
Someone feathering under your skin. Wanna leave a mark so that I can be sure that you.
Alright, since the waffles are cooking, I've got some biscuits on in the oven baking. I'm going to make some chocolate gravy to go with the biscuits. So to my skillet here, it's not on the heat, it's just a dry skillet. I'm going to add in my sugar, cocoa powder, flour, baking soda, and salt. And I'm going to whisk that together until it's nice and combined. And then I'm going to whisk in slowly my milk until it's nice and combined. And then I'm going to cook that over medium to low heat until it's nice and thickened. It should take about 5 to 10 minutes.
Let me tell you what I found. Leaving everything behind. Knowing there is more in life that I want. Now I wanna embrace life. You and I side by side. Knowing there is more in life that I want.
Once the gravy has thickened, I'm going to go in and add just a couple of pats of butter, room temperature butter. It will be easier to melt into the gravy. It will also give it a little bit more of a richer flavor. So I'm going to whisk that in, and then this is ready to go. I'm going to cut the heat off and just put this in a bowl, or if you have a serving boat, you can pour it in that. But you can add this to your biscuits or to your waffles. It is delicious on both. Now here I am just making some eggs. Now you can do whatever kind of eggs that you like. We like ours over easy, so that's what I'm going to do. But you can do scrambled, you can do fried, an omelet if you prefer. So however you want eggs, or if you don't want eggs, you can just omit them. It's fine. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. Cook them about a minute and a half. On one side, add some salt and pepper, and then flip them over, let them cook for about another minute, and then those are ready to go on the plate.
Baby, you pull me closer, let's fall in love. Oh, I can feel my body move to every move you make, and I can feel the tension every time we're close. I know whatever happens, I will have you next to me, 'cause tonight we have it all. 'Cause we're dancing as one. 'Cause we're dancing as one. 'Cause we're dancing as one.
Alright, here is my plate. I just have some waffles here, a little bit of bacon, some eggs, and a biscuit with some of that chocolate gravy. It was so good. I did not eat anything else for the rest of the night and half the next day because this was absolutely delicious and very, very filling. So yeah, this is what we had for dinner tonight. For dinner tonight, I am making a lemon garlic chicken. It's so good, so easy. However, this is not my recipe. If I can find this recipe online, I will leave it linked in the description box below for you guys. Or I can find something similar and leave that linked. But to my bowl here, I'm just adding in all of my ingredients, lemon juice, some spices, and I'm going to mix that together, add it to my chicken, toss that around, and I'm going to let this sit for just a few minutes while I prep up my potatoes to go on the sheet tray.
'Cause we're dancing as one. 'Cause we're dancing as one. You and me are moving. Make sure we get through this. Let's just keep on dancing as one. You and me are moving. Make sure we get through this. Let's just keep on dancing as one.
Alright, so I've got a sheet tray here that's lined with some parchment paper. I'm just going to add my chicken, my potatoes, top that with some lemon slices, and then I'm going to bake this per their directions until the chicken is nice and cooked through. Then remove this from the oven, and this is ready for dinner.
Lights flash in the dark. I know you're coming back, aiming at my heart. And these things never come from me easily, no. But now I think I'm ready.
Alright, here is my plate. I just have the chicken here and a lemon slice on the top. This I just squeezed over the top of the chicken and the potatoes, which I have some of those and some steamed green beans to go with it. Since we had such a heavy filling breakfast style dinner the day before, this was something that was very light and also very filling and delicious. Alright, wrapping up this week, I'm going to be making a super easy tater tot casserole. This is a Amish style recipe. Also, it is currently raining while I'm doing this voiceover, so if you hear that in the background, I'm sorry. But to my pan here, I'm going to add my ground beef, some onions, salt and pepper, and then I'm going to cook this until the ground beef is cooked through. Also, if I can find this online, I will leave it linked in the description box below, or something similar.
Now tell me, are you ready? Are you ready? Ready? Emotions repeating. Though it's been so long.
Now that the ground beef and onions are cooked through, the recipe did not call for any extra seasonings, but I felt it needed some, so I just added whatever I wanted. So I just added that, mixed that around, let that toast up for about a minute, and then I kind of leveled that off in the pan. and I sprinkled over some frozen peas. Now, the recipe called for frozen peas, but I'm sure you can do green beans or mixed vegetables if you prefer. So I just sprinkled over some peas because I had some in the freezer that needed to be used up. Now that I have the peas on there, I just went in with some cream of soup. I had cream of mushroom soup with roasted garlic on hand, so that's what I used. I just put that over the top of the peas and the meat mixture and kind of leveled that out over the top. Then I went in with some tater tots, and you don't have to make it look as pretty as I did. You can just put them on there and kind of level them out and it will work just fine. Once I got those on there, I had some vintage aged cheddar cheese that I needed to use up, so I just sprinkled that over the top, and you guys, it gave it so much flavor. It was so good. Once I got the cheese on there, I just put this in the oven and let it bake until the tater tots were cooked through and nice and golden brown and crispy, and that cheese was all nice and melted. The directions said to cook it a different way, but I didn't do that. I did it my own way, but you guys, this was so easy. Alright, here is my plate. I just have the tater tot casserole here. I steamed up some green beans and just topped that with some butter, salt, and pepper. I also made some homemade honey wheat bread and topped that with some whipped honey, and it was so good. But that's going to wrap up this week's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to leave me a comment in the comment section down below, and I will see you guys in the next one.